Welcome inside the Saturday morning huddle. Billy Beebe, Kenny Rhoda with me as we are excited to get you set for another recap of another great week of high school football covered here on WHBC all around Stark County. Some great and terrific games that we're going to get into. We have a full list of guests today, so make sure you stay tuned throughout the show. Kenny, what a guest list we have today. I mean, start to finish, we're going to have people popping in and out.
We got coaches, we got players. We're going to recap week number 2. We're going to talk to them. We're going to look at highlights. We're going to break down film. We're going to do it all throughout the next hour and a half, however long. The great thing about this show, we can go as long as we want. Doesn't matter, right? We have no set time, so however long it takes, we'll get as many coaches, players in to give some love throughout Stark County and some great games last night, and we'll break down all of the ones we covered on radio, on YouTube, and the audio stream, as well as the entire county.
Yeah, I know one of the storylines we were really looking at is teams that wanted their first win, started off not how they wanted last week, but week 2, you get the chance to bounce back. We got the scores ticking down on the bottom, but those teams snagging their first win. Jackson, which we'll get with Coach Rohr here in just a second, a 36-35 winner over Mayfield. Louisville, a 22-0 winner over Zanesville. We will talk with Coach Kappas about that one. Very excited to hear kind of about a crazy game that really wasn't driven by offense. So excited to talk about that. And then we'll have Coach DeGeorge on later to talk about Lake's 42-31 win over Boardman. So you love to see a lot of teams get their first win, Kenny.
Tuslaw gets their first win. Coach Gulling going to join us a little bit later on in the show. You mentioned Coach Kappas, first-year head coach, first win for him. So great to see. We'll hear what he has to say about that. And then Massillon continues to roll. They're the team, that everybody looks up at in Stark County right now as they destroyed Glen Oak yesterday. And we'll relive some of the highlights of that game as well. So we've got a lot in store for everybody. But the game of the night, arguably, Billy, right? We got to start with Jackson and Mayfield, and joining us right now, the outstanding second-year head coach for the Polar Bears. He's a happy man this morning. Jay Rohr joining us after a 36-35 last-second walk-off win over Mayfield. Coach, thanks for making time for us. Congratulations on the win last night. Does it look just as good this morning as it did last night?
Absolutely, gentlemen, absolutely.
That's outstanding, Coach. Go ahead, Billy.
Coach, I don't want to have to make you relive last week too much, but, we know that was a tough Mentor team you took on. It's a tough way to start the year. It's an opponent you guys brought to you. What was the message after playing such a talented team and not quite getting it done?
I kind of said the same message again to these guys today. Really, if you look at our last 4 opponents, truthfully, going back to our scrimmages, we played an alliance team with Zurich and Oklahoma commit. We go to Hoban, then obviously Mentor and obviously Mayfield. But I think the thing is that our kids, they were told all week about a moral victory, and there's no such thing as a moral victory. At the end of the day, we lost, and those guys understand that concept that we were still 0-1. They weren't satisfied. The other thing I preach about too is our leadership, and the leadership kind of really took the next step forward too, and bringing the guys together and saying that 0-1 isn't satisfaction for them, and we got to be better. And this whole week in preparation going into Mayfield, they did just that, and we saw tremendous, obviously gains, and we're just blessed to come out with a victory against Mayfield last night.
The crowd obviously saw a thrilling game, and your sophomore quarterback, through the first 2 weeks of the season, Lucas Eckerman, 5 touchdown passes last night, including the game winner with about 4 or 5 seconds left on the clock when you snapped it. Billy, let's show the highlight for our viewers out there that are joining us here on the Huddle, and we'll have Coach break this down for us, if you don't mind, Coach, and tell us what the play call was here. And obviously the result is what you won. So keep looping this, Billy, and take us through this play call, Coach.
Yeah, we knew that just again, we kind of did a similar play last week against Mentor. We knew that they were going to be more of a man team here at the end. And so we tried to get Jamal there, number 11, almost on like a pick route, so to speak. To be honest with you, he technically ran the wrong route, but it worked out in our favor. And again, you touched on it, guys. The protection of our front guys in the second half was tremendous. And then obviously we're going to put the ball in Lucas's hands, and he's going to make obviously the right play and the right read, and he gets the ball to Jamal there for the game winner.
In a small window, Billy and I were talking before the show, Coach. There wasn't the pylon was there, the defender was there, and the receiver was there. That's a hell of a throw from a sophomore.
Absolutely. And you guys touched on it. I mean, I think Lucas knows it. Again, he's a young guy, but again, when he was thrown into the fire last year alone, going against Kent McKinnon last year, he really stepped up. And then really over the course of the summer, coming into more two-a-days, he really took control of the offense and took command of it. And, our players, for him being a sophomore, they got nothing but respect for him. He's not very vocal, but he certainly is a leader by his play. And he certainly did that last night.
Coach, talking about Lucas a little more, you mentioned how young he is. Our Joe Palmisano, one of our color commentators, was talking last week. He felt the more Lucas got to throw during the game last week and going forward this season, the better he's going to get, the more comfortable he's going to get. And I noticed it felt like he was running a little more to start the game. And then once he hit that 10 pass threshold, he really started to kind of pick it up. Is that how you felt?
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. I think the other thing too that, I look at us, we're getting better up front. I would say almost all 5 guys were new, and it was their first game last week. And so he got a little pressure early and kind of went more to his legs. And then as he got comfortable, he started, his willingness to sit in the pocket a lot more. Again, Lucas has all the attributes, and it really showcased this week. You touched on it. I mean, he had 365 yards passing and 5 touchdowns to 4 different receivers. He has, we got, again, great skill around him too. So, our offense, they can put up points with the best of them. Our defense is playing well. But certainly we're blessed that, to have Lucas on our squad.
I want to go back to that touchdown to win the game, Coach. You said that Jamal ran the wrong route. What was he supposed to run there? Because it looked like an old 49ers pick play that they used to run with Jerry Rice, bringing him in motion and cutting right off the tight end's rear end and popping out to that pylon. So what was he supposed to run?
He was supposed to it was a crosser to the other side. He was actually supposed to cross and go the other way. Again, just I don't know if it was Jamal and making a play from what he saw, but he was supposed to, again, as a double cross. They were supposed to cross each other. So obviously, again, you guys, I don't care where you're at or what sport you're playing. Whether you win by 40, you win by 1, a win is a win. And we're certainly blessed and pleased that it came out the way that it did.
I think this is the second week in a row we've talked about a big-time touchdown not being drawn up or not going exactly how it was drawn up. Is that just how coaching goes?
It is, and that's the thing. I mean, you got to believe in your players, and I certainly do. I take pride. We have a great coaching staff, but I'm a players coach too. I got a lot of respect for the guys in our locker room, the 85 strong, that they take the coaching, the constructive criticism, and they're great leaders. And, we tell them all the time, coaches, we can always put you in the best position. But at the end of the day, you got to be football players and go make plays. And those guys, in that case, Jamal and Lucas both, they were able to do that last night.
Jackson wins in 36-35 over Mayfield. Coach, last week it was Fuel Line. This week, Benson and Phillips. You've got a plethora of receivers for him to throw to. You've got to be excited to this point about how those players are developing, correct?
Absolutely. And that's the truth behind it. We got, some great running backs as well. We have a lot of skill. That's again, touching on it, 4 touchdown passes or 5 touchdown passes to 4 different receivers. Lucas does a great job spreading the ball out to those guys. And that's what we tell those guys too. There's only one football, and we're going to do our best to get the ball into each guy's hands when the opportunity presents itself. And we're also looking at what the defense is giving us. And that's the blessing, again, with the leadership that we got, that those guys understand that. And when their number's called and they got to make plays, as you guys saw and alluded to with last night, those guys did step up and make those plays.
Let's talk defense a little bit, Coach. I know we're giving a lot of offensive love. What have you seen so far that you like from your defense?
Just grit. we play with a lot of grit. And, like I said, a lot of people came out of last week against Mentor and talked about how tough we played Mentor on the defensive side. They were on our side of the field the whole time. But these guys have grit. They fight. They're physical. And the one thing that we take pride in, we run to the football. And that's the blessing. You have to play with attitude and effort. And we preach that all the time. And certainly defensively, whether it's the 11 guys in or the subs that come in for a few of our guys, that's the way that they all play. And that's a blessing. And that's the way they're coached too. So couldn't be more proud of those guys.
Second year for you, Coach Rohr. What are you most happy with now in year number 2 through the first 2 games?
I look at where I was a year ago and where I am now, and I certainly things that I needed to improve upon as the head coach. But I just from a leadership standpoint, I have the utmost confidence and trust in our coaching staff, that they do a phenomenal job, and just the amount of work and pride that I have in our players, that I believe in them, and they know I believe in them, and that just allows them to go out and play free. And I think that's just it. I mean, when you're honest and you hold your players accountable, they respect you a heck of a lot more, and they're willing to run through a wall for you. And right now, that's the 85 guys that I have on our football team. They'll run through a wall for myself, and they know that our coaching staff would do the same for them.
Hey, I got to give some love here, Billy, before I almost forgot. Cooper, is it Miser? I mean, you don't win that game if he doesn't make the extra point on special team. It's a great throw and everything, but you're tied at that point, 35-35, and Fife Stadium's going absolutely bonkers. So big kick there from Cooper to give you guys the walk-off win.
Yeah, and I don't mind him on the air. I'll be honest. A few plays before that, Cooper got an earful from me. Again, he's a sophomore. And I do preach that every kid on our football team, no one's going to play a perfect game. We're always going to make mistakes. And unfortunately, the previous kickoff, we end up kicking it instead of outside the hash. We kick it down the middle, and they take it to the house. So he got an earful. But talk about, again, some resiliency, some fight and some pride. He did. He had to come and kick the extra point for the game winner. And he stood in there, and they brought the house, and he knocked it through the uprights. So, again, we're just blessed.
All right, Coach, last question for you. Looking ahead, next week you guys are at Stowe Monroe Falls. How do you get the players ready for not only a road game like that, but unfamiliar opponents?
Yeah, hey, I'm going to be honest. I just talked with the players this morning. At the end of the day, you guys, it's one win. You're not winning a state championship with one victory under your belt. And, these guys, going back to January 4th, we have bigger goals and bigger aspirations. And to be a great team, you got to win a lot of football games, and you got to go on a roll. And I think these guys are excited for the opportunity. We know we're on the road for the first time this year. But if we want to exceed those expectations and accomplish those goals, it's one game at a time, and it's next week up at Stowe.
All right, Coach, thanks for the time today. Good luck. I'm sure we'll be talking with you the rest of the season and checking in on the Polar Bears.
Hey, I appreciate you guys having me. Thanks, guys.
Outstanding second-year head coach. He was a stud player back in the day, and he's got this thing rolling in the right direction, playing a heck of a schedule early, which will pay benefits for him, not only in the Federal League, but later on in the playoffs as well for the Jackson Polar Bears.
Yeah, they're at Stowe Monroe Falls. Then they host the Ohio State Buckeyes. They've got the Browns, and then they play game after that.
I was wondering where you were going with it. Yeah, it's a pretty good schedule. But
that's a wild one to start with, Mentor, Mayfield, and Stowe Monroe Falls. That shows what kind of program Coach Rohr is trying to run, and I think that's a message for his team that they're not going to schedule those games unless they think they can win them.
Absolutely, and it sends a message throughout Stark County too, that they want to be one of the best teams in Stark County at the highest level. So congratulations to Coach Rohr on his first victory this season with the Polar Bears. And Billy, we've got to bring in a couple of special guests now because they picked up their first win yesterday of the season and of his career at Louisville. Chris Kappas, the head coach of the Louisville Leopards, joining us here on the Saturday morning huddle, and his quarterback Owen Burek joining us as well. Gentlemen, thanks for joining us. Congratulations, Coach. We'll start with you on first win of the season and that first career victory.
Hey guys, thanks for having us on. Yeah, it it was a fun one. The guys played hard, and we're happy to get in the win column.
All right, Coach, looking at the stat line, looking at the breakdown of the game, this is not your average football game. I mean, how crazy was it watching these different plays kind of come about to get you the win?
Yeah, it was good. I mean, we executed at times at a high level and then executed at a very poor level. So those are things we're really trying to fix is the inconsistencies. But you saw the flashes and a lot of young guys take a big step. And I think a sign of a team that's got a chance to really get better every single week. A sign of that is how much you get better from week 1 to week 2. And we came out after a tough loss and had a great week of practice, and our leadership stepped up. And, so I think these guys are starting to figure it out a little bit. And, we're hopefully just starting to scratch the surface of realizing what we can do.
Chris, what was your message after that week 1 loss to the kids? And obviously they received it pretty well, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's anytime there's adversity, that it's we got to have the mindset that that's an opportunity for growth. And we did, we felt like we put ourselves in a position to win that first game with our preparation and how hard the guys were working and what they put into it. But in football, not everything's going to go your way. Not every bounce is going to go your way. Not every call is going to go your way. There's going to be mistakes, but it's how you respond to a loss. How you respond to adversity is really defines our identity as a team. So that was our message, and the guys responded well.
Let's talk with Owen real quick. Owen Bjork joining us here on the Saturday Morning Huddle. Owen, how badly did the team want that first win?
They were fighting their tails off all week. We had the intention of beating Zanesville and going out there and giving it our all. So everybody was in on it. There was 11 guys on both sides of the ball fighting for it every play. So,
Owen, how bad not only did you guys want your first win, but to get your coach his first win and get that monkey off his back so nobody has to talk about getting that first win for him anymore?
Yeah, he deserved it, and the team deserved it too. So we all fought together. There wasn't one guy that did it for us. There wasn't two guys. It was everybody on the team, everybody on the sideline, all the coaches, and all the fans too. So everybody was a part of it, and it was huge to go 1-1 right there and start off our home opener with a win.
Did you get a Gatorade bath, Coach? Was that the celebration?
No, did not, which was good for me. I tell these guys, it's never about me. I don't care if it's my first win or 1,000th win. It's always going to be about the team and what we're going to do to win the game and work for the next week.
Owen, you come over from St. Thomas. You step in there. You have to win the quarterback battle. You win the quarterback battle. Last night, we've got the numbers on the crawl below us, 12 of 25, $156, 2 touchdowns, and you carry it. So you're a dual threat as well. What's been the toughest adjustment for you, and where do you feel most comfortable in this offense?
The toughest adjustment is nothing really. I mean, coach makes it real easy on us. The play calling and the just the schematics of it. It's not too complex. It's simple football, but we make it happen. And I'm just really comfortable with the team and the coaches. So it was easy coming in here and getting to know everybody and making, these relationships.
Coach, what has Owen done that you've liked going back to camp and to the games now?
Yeah, I think, my message to him coming in, because he just got here in the summer and, it's just like anybody else on our team. But when you come in, you want to be the starting quarterback, everything's about earning the trust and respect of your teammates and coaches. And, we talk about passing that test every single day with, earning that from your teammates, earning from your coaches, and, doing things the right way. What Owen's been able to do since he got here, not only has he earned the starting quarterback job, but he was voted team captain just knowing these guys for 2 months starting the summer. So, that he's a coach's kid. He knows football. He's a competitor. And it's, he makes it easy and leads the guys around him to step up. And he's the, when things go bad, he's the guy that steps up and takes ownership of it. And but that's what leaders do. So I've been very, very happy with with how he's been a leader for our team.
Leopard Nation very happy getting the first win last night at home. And we've got you on the radio next week, Coach. It'll be the Altman Hospital Radio Game of the Week, Northwest at Louisville. So we're coming to your neck of the woods. That town loves its high school football, Coach. How special was it last night to see the crowd get to celebrate along with your kids, yourself, get a victory like that for Leopard Nation?
Yeah, it was good. I mean, it was good to get a win column. Especially Zanesville's a tough place to play, and long drive down there, long drive back. So I thought we handled the trip really, really well, and our crowd showed up well on the travel down there, and really looking forward to getting a chance to. We haven't even had a scrimmage here at home. We had both of our scrimmages were on the road, first 2 games on the road. So looking forward to getting back in the front of the home field here, and hopefully putting together a good showing.
All right, Coach. After week 1, we say don't react too hard to a loss. Don't react too much to a win. Now you've got a win and a loss. How do you kind of weed out what you want to fix and what you like about your team?
We're always adjusting. We're always evaluating on, what we want to do. And I think we're starting to figure out who we are as a team, schematically, and what the guys do best, what position can we put them in to be better. But, our week-to-week approach is always going to be the same. Our Monday is going to look like Mondays. We got to watch the same amount of film. We got to run the same amount of plays. And that consistency is what's going to build, continue to build our foundation to carry us for, throughout a whole season and build this program the way we want it to be.
Guys, congratulations on the first win. Good luck this week against Northwest. We'll see you there in Louisville on Friday night.
Yep. Thanks for having us on.
Thank you.
Outstanding job by those two getting win number 1. And it is big, Billy. That first win, we talk about it, getting it out of the way. This way, it's not a topic. When are they going to win their first one for Coach, right? When is the quarterback going to get his first win if he transfers in? That's all over and done with now. They can focus just on the next opponent, and that's Northwest. And Leopard Nation will come out strong Friday night in Louisville, and we can't wait to get out there and enjoy that atmosphere.
Definitely. And it seems like they're coming off a dominant win, Kenny, too, that can really push some momentum. And for Louisville, I mean, how big is it to have those 4 or 5 wins in the middle of the season, rather than trying to grab them late like in the past? I think the Leopards have to be very excited to grab that first one. But like Coach Kappas said, it is a week-to-week game, and they're going to take every game as serious in itself, not just as a season.
22-0. I mean, that's a shutout victory. That means the defense played very, very well, creating opportunities. I was looking at some of the stats. They gave up only 74 yards, recorded a safety, right? You get your special teams involved with Carter Dusky kicking 2 field goals. Burek throws for 2 touchdowns. They get the win over Zanesville. So that's a good, maybe not the prettiest, but hey, when you look in the win column, the loss column, if it's over here, you don't care what happened, how it happened, just so you got the victory, and they did last night.
Yeah, I think a theme on this show now, we're giving love to special teams every single week. And, when I was reading the review of that game, Kenny, Dusky was the name that kept popping up, not only for field goals, and I forgot to ask Coach this. I'll be kicking myself for it later. I read about 2 key punts. They had punts, backed up Zanesville, put it perfectly, backing them up and making sure they had to start offense at their own, I think 11 and 5 yard line was the 2 punts that they got, and I know we'll talk to Matt Dennison about his onside and squib kicks that they recovered. I mean, special teams is booming right now in Stark County. I'll say that again. Special teams is booming right now in Stark County.
Well, there's a stat they keep inside the 20-yard line for punters, so it must be important. And if you can back up, the opposition inside their own 20, inside their own 10, forces them to go 90, 95, 85 yards, whatever it is, it makes it a lot harder to score touchdowns. And so it's 1/3 of the game. Quarterback gets all the glory in football, right? It's the most important position in all of sports. So whether it's high school, college, or the pros, he's going to get the love and the negative talk when they don't play well. But there's 3 units. There's offense, there's defense, there's special teams. And if you can win 2 out of the 3 battles each week with your units, you have a good chance of winning the game. If you can win all 3, including special teams, for sure you're going to win that game.
Right. We're talking about punts. We're talking about making field goals, and that's the execution.
Extra points that,
right.
that seem, a lot of teams we see, they can't kick an extra point. And that matters. We talked with Coach Rohr about it, and, and his kicker, Miser, not following the game plan on the kickoff, and it cost him a touchdown, but he's able to block that out. Okay, made a mistake. I'll learn from it. Forget about it. Compartmentalize it. I got to worry about my next kick, whether it's a field goal or an extra point. And he put the extra point through the uprights, and they won the game 36-35.
Yeah, and that was kind of interesting to hear Coach Rohr talk about, as far as, they score that touchdown, and then you can see in the video, Kenny, they have coaches that immediately back up. We have a field goal we got to get off here, guys. Let's relax for a second. And like you said, you have your classics like field goals made and long punts, right, that get down at the 2-yard line, but you kind of have to keep in mind with special teams, there's a whole nother edge to it. The kickoff in the right place, right, for Jackson, it cost him a touchdown. I'll also talk about the guys making tackles on special teams. I know Coach Dennison can speak to it. There are multiple plays that first and second tackler for them didn't work out, and it's so big. Maybe these aren't the guys playing snaps at running back and wide receiver and whatnot, but if they put you on special teams, they're still asking you to make a play.
Special teams matter, and that's a T-shirt waiting to happen right there. Special teams matter, Billy. And so teams that do it on special teams, their coaches love it, and that's how you earn. A lot of times when you're a younger player, you earn your stripes, you earn your playing time based on what you do on special teams. We heard when the USFL was playing in Canton this past year, talking with Ray Horton, the coach of the Pittsburgh Maulers, a lot of his players, starters, wanted to play special teams because they know that NFL teams that are watching tape, they're going to look at a lot of these guys to play special teams. So they wanted to be out there to show they can do it on special teams. And a number of those players got invites to NFL training camps based on not only what they did on offense or defense, but what they did on special teams in the USFL. Yeah,
great points there. We're talking about, a position that, like you said, really has no glory to it if you're just the guy on the snap line, or the guy that's on the outside that has to take 3 hits before he has to then charge down again and, maybe never even gets to the ball. Just you still have to put that effort in. I think coaches definitely appreciate that. Let's shoot to somebody else that's definitely being appreciated right now for the Marlington Dukes. We bring in Bo Himmelheber. Bo, good morning. How are you?
How are you? I'm doing good.
Good. You should be doing good after last night. Another victory. How about this? You've doubled your win total in the first 2 weeks of the season, Bo Himmelheber. Congratulations on the 31-21 win over Northwest. Last year versus this year, Bo. What's the difference so far with a new head coach, obviously, with Joe Cardinal?
Just energy and believing in one another, coming in with confidence each game. And we're really just relying on one another and just playing with heart.
All right, Bo, you're playing 2 ways. You have for multiple years, but it really seems like you're excelling at both positions. Do you have a favorite?
Not really. It's just how I'm feeling during the game. But if I had to pick one, I'd probably pick receiver. But I love defense to death, though. So
we always ask that question of guys that play both ways. And in all my years of covering it, here's what a lot of them end up saying. Whatever play needs to be made to win the game, that's where I want to be, right? So if you're a defensive back and you got to keep them from scoring, that's the best in that game, right? Or if you need a game-winning touchdown, you want to catch that. Does that sound about right, Bo?
Yeah, of course. Just like in week 1 versus Warrensville, where we had that goal line stand. And obviously, I want to be on defense playing safety at the 2-yard line, like making that stop. So,
well, walk us through what it's like getting a new head coach. I know we just talked with Louisville, and they have a new head coach, and for you, I mean, what was your mindset when you heard you're getting a new coach, obviously, and what does a player kind of think about knowing things are going to change?
Yeah, so like I had 3 head coaches in 4 years. So when you hear a guy, when your coach leaves and then another coach is coming in, you're like, oh, great, not again. So, and it's a little hard for the offense learning 3 new offenses in 4 years. So like you can't really get the gist of things. So like it's super hard. But with him coming in, he made it really simple for us, and he made our core values and like everything that we needed to do really simple. And
Hap-
and he always just tells us it's a player driven team, and we make all the calls, we make all the decisions. If we think what needs to be done, our 4 captains come in, meet together, and we come up and talk and like make a plan. So, and when we go on offense, we'll call a play, but our quarterback has all the opportunity to change the play to whatever he wants, and he seems to be doing good at that. So
Yeah, outstanding. Bryce McCord, your quarterback, 24 for 38, 254, a touchdown, no interceptions. Very important stat there. Your connection with him is obviously good.
yes, sir.
What makes Bryce the right fit for this offense to be your leader?
He comes in every day, works his butt off every day in practice. He's that motivator, and he never gets he's gonna get on you, but he never puts people down. He only brings them up with him, and he plays with confidence. Like last year, he didn't get much practice before our first game versus Coventry, and people really downplayed him, and that really just kind of like took a shot at him. But him coming in with Coach Cardinal, getting practice, getting the right drills, him really getting all those 7-on-7s and the scrimmages that we had this year, that really helped him. And now he's full of confidence now. So it's full go for him.
Bo, you guys snag your second win of the season. You're 2-0 to start. Has the mindset changed within the team? That first win, obviously very fun. Now you've won 2 in a row. Looking ahead on the schedule a little bit, is it a different look when you look at your schedule and the rest of the season?
Yeah, it's definitely a difference from this year, from last year. Last year, the energy, just the motivation was low. But this year, coming back, beating Warrensville week 1, going down 8-0, and then yesterday going down 14-0, knowing that we have to make a comeback. So, after those plays happen and we win those 2 games, beating Northwest for the first time since 2010, going 2-0 since the first time in 2016, that's a big jump for us, and we're more motivated than ever. So we're really looking forward to our first road game versus Manchester, and they're a good team. So we're gonna have to play good, but I'm looking forward to it.
What changed yesterday after 14-0? You're down 14-0. 2 weeks in a row you fall behind. What flipped the switch yesterday for you guys to turn this thing around and dominate the rest of the way?
Yeah, so yesterday, even in warm-ups, we felt kind of flat, like not energetic. We preached that all warm-ups and in the pregame locker room. But when we go down 14-0, it like stuns you, and you're like, well, now it's go time. So now
Right.
we're actually playing. So we huddled up. I gave him a little pep talk speech, and then we went out there. And on offense, we're not a team that goes out and scores first play of every drive. We go out there, we analyze on what defense is, what coverages they're running, what they're giving us. So it takes us a minute to ease in to the game. And after that, usually third, fourth drive, and that's when we take off.
When you guys do go down 14-0, is it more players speaking and players talking, or does Coach kind of have to step in?
No, Coach usually just lets us be, and he lets the seniors handle it. He says it's our team, it's player driven. So he'll come in, pitch in here and there, and tell us what needs to be told. But it's really just our captains and leaders speaking.
For you as one of those leaders, do you, what's the best way to say this? Do you look forward to the pressure of being that leader? And if so, how do you handle that, knowing guys are going to come to you to make a play on offense, defense, special teams, but also be that vocal leader? How do you handle that?
Sir, so really my whole life, I've played with the same group of guys, and they all believe in me, and I believe in them. Playing with them since I've been in first grade. So we know how to handle certain situations, and just me, Coach just tells me to be a playmaker, and when a moment comes, I prepare all summer, all year to make big plays, and I know everyone looks up to me and believes in me to make that big play. And once they put that confidence in me and me being their team captain, I just go out there and do it.
Well, Bo, great stuff from you today. Appreciate you jumping on with us. We're wishing the Dukes good luck. Excited to see you guys at 2-0 and
Thank you.
definitely some notoriety and some attention for you guys.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me on.
Hey, these numbers, man, keep putting these stats up. We like adding stats to our show like this, man. Offense, defense, special teams, tackles,
Yes,
fumble
sir.
recoveries, man. That you're filling out the box score. Keep doing that, all right?
Hey, thank you. Of course, we'll do.
There he is, Bo Himmelheber. Great kid, man, and a hell of a player. And I know Coach Cardinal loves him to death, and he's going to rely on him a lot this year. But I said it, Billy, right out of the gate. They've doubled their win total. They were 1-9 last year, right? So they've doubled the win total in the first 2 weeks. So obviously what Coach Cardinal is doing is working, and the players have accepted that, and at least through the first 2 weeks are excelling at that.
Yeah, huge smile on Bo's face. Very excited for Marlington. You can tell how happy he is. And I love hearing the players first, player-driven type of situation, because if you think about coaching, Kenny, and coming into a program that struggled the past couple of years, if you're a coach, wouldn't you just want to feel like you really need to grab it and take control and really, do this and do that? And it seems like Coach Cardinal has kind of more implemented – these are the players that have built this program and they put in the work and this and that, and, still going to lean on them. I thought that was very interesting to hear. And, more and more new coaches in the area, you kind of want to hear what the mindset is when they kind of come in.
I loved hearing that as well. And it seemed like Bo really appreciated that. I mean, coaches can rub, especially new coaches, right? Their first impression is so important on the kids. And for him to come in and look at those seniors and Bo and those leaders and saying, all right, guys, I'm going to look to you. This is my first year here. Yes, I have a philosophy. I have a coaching style, and we're going to try and do it my way, but I'm going to give you the opportunity to make decisions, not only make plays on the field, but help us in practice and watching film and then spreading the word. So I love the fact that, that's what they're trying to do there at Marlington, and Bo Himmelheber is one of the more talented players in the county. And the smaller schools, Billy, you got to play both ways, right? You don't have 85, 100 kids coming out where you can specialize. I'm just going to be the wide receiver or the guard. No, I'm going to be the wide receiver, the kick returner, the defensive back. You need me to punt, kick, whatever. The best players are going to do that at the smaller schools. So kudos to them.
Yeah, I completely agree. And that Himmelheber name has been out there for a while, especially in Marlington. Yep. And Bo's a guy highly regarded by the coaches he's had over the years. I know it's tough probably going from coach to coach, but at least you got to feel good, Kenny, if you're him, that when they do switch coaches, they can identify him as a leader and a great player.
He doesn't know this yet, but that many coaches in that many years is going to help him in life down the road. Whether you go from job to job, boss to boss, new owners, whatever, that's going to help him in his life down the road with him being able to handle it the way he has. So kudos to Marlington again, 31-21 over Northwest. Tough loss for Northwest. They were up, 14-0 in that game. John DeMarco's got to be kicking himself. They score on their first two possessions at least. I think they might have even went up 21-0 or 21-7. And so they're 0-2 now on the year, Northwest. So they're still looking for that first win. And obviously losing Kyler Maraglia to Hoover, that hurt them in the running game. And we're going to get a look at Northwest next week at Louisville in our Altman Hospital game of the week. So we'll see if they get their first win next week or if they fall to 0-3. But that's a tough loss. And you heard Bo tell us, first win over Northwest since 2010. So that's a game that was just checked off on Northwest's schedule as a W. Well, not this year. Congratulations to Marlington.
Yeah, definitely. And like I said, people on their schedule, they're going to have to see Marlington coming up, and they're going to have to change the way they're thinking about things when they see the Dukes, and vice versa. If the Dukes are kind of looking at their schedule, and oh, let's say you haven't beat Carrollton in 2 or 3 years, or however that matchup is set. Well, you hadn't beat Northwest in a while, and that's different now. So every game can look a little different. And Bo definitely he gave us some insight into how that's looking. Before we get to Coach Gulling here in a second, Kenny.
Yeah.
By
the way, I got to get this in, Billy, because they won again. Every time they win, I'm going to do this from one of my favorite movies of all time, Trading Places. It was the Dukes. It was the Dukes. Eddie Murphy, man. Anytime I can drop Eddie Murphy in on the Saturday morning huddle with the Dukes like that, I'm going to do it. So that's it. We can put that to bed now.
Love it. Let's try and get Coach Gulling on here and see if see how the connection is. Coach, can you hear us?
Yes.
All right, so we may have just audio, but Coach Matt Gulling joining us now. A win for Tuslaw yesterday and their first win of the season. Coach, break down for us the feeling after win number 1.
Good feeling. We struggled a little bit in week 1, offensively especially, and then last night we got off to a slow start offensively, and then we were really able to get some things going in the second half, and it was a great win for our kids and our program.
Coach, anytime you pitch a shutout, well, I don't care what sport it is, that means you're doing a lot right on defense. What was the key to your first shutout there at Tuslaw since 2015? Really, our kids, we got some more athleticism than what we've had in the past. And we got a bunch of guys on defense that just like to run around and hit and play football. We're not perfect all the time. We might have a missed assignment here and there, but right now we're doing a good job of making up for it with effort and getting 11 guys to the ball. And our linebackers, Jacob Lyons and Bryson Pereira, are playing really well for us right now.
Coach, when we talked with you at our banquet, you had noted that there were going to be some players on your team fresh to football. Walk us through what that's like, kind of getting guys adjusted.
It's a challenge. They more so mentally than anything. I think just the ability to adjust in the game. They haven't seen some of the things that are getting thrown at them a lot. But like I said, we kind of have been making up for that with some athleticism. It's really just a mental thing, getting them up to speed each week, seeing different offenses, different defenses. And I think hopefully the game starts to slow down for us a little bit more here, especially on the offensive side of the ball. Just sophomore quarterback, sophomore running back. They want to rush things at times. Quarterback can be quick to get out of the pocket, but I think he's getting better. I think the game's going to start slowing down for us, and we're excited about the future here.
Joey Meter last night, 22 carries, 122 yards, 2 touchdowns. Pretty good numbers for a sophomore, Coach. What are his strengths, even though he's only in the 10th grade?
He's got great feet. His feet are really good. He's got good vision. He's just a good back. I mean, he does a good job of pressing the line of scrimmage, and for the first time in a while, he's a kid that can make a cut and get back to top end speed right away. So as he gets older and matures and puts on some more weight, he's going to be a really good back for us.
All right, Coach, you talk about development and the future and kind of working things out. How difficult is it to try to develop guys for next year and the year after while you're still trying to win games now?
It's tough. It's a mix. And we talk to the kids all the time. Like there's gonna be times, there's gonna be plays where we don't look good, and it's just play the next play. And I mean, I know it's all coach speak and everything like that, but a lot of them are just getting trial by fire. I mean, it is what it is. We got 40 of our 55 guys are freshmen and sophomores. So they're in there, they're getting thrown into the fire, and so far they're handling it. And the good thing is our younger classes have won throughout, so they know what it takes. They're used to winning, and then we got some older guys that are contributing. We got a good group of seniors. There's not a ton of them, but the ones that are there are doing a great job for us too.
did I hear right, Coach? 40 of 55 are freshmen and sophomores. Did you have to go to a psychologist before the season started to calm you down, knowing there are going to be some young kid mistakes like that?
Yep, it's definitely challenging at times. And,
Right.
and as a coaching staff, we keep reminding ourselves, listen, they're young, they haven't done this before. So really the locker room's been a challenge at times. I tell them sometimes it feels like a middle school locker room. Really, I mean, we notice it on things like that, especially. I mean, we had bad weather the other day, and I'm used to kids just getting in their cars and going home, but about 90% of our roster doesn't have their driver's license yet. So it can be challenging, but they love the game. And our seniors and juniors are doing a good job of helping bring them along. And so we like where we're at right now.
And the payoff is their senior year, right, Coach? Getting them developed for 2 years from now.
Yep. So we're excited. We got a lot of good things going on. We started a turf campaign, so we're looking to get turf here hopefully for next year, if not definitely by the year after. So we're excited about some things going on here.
Coach, what's the message now after you get your first win for a lot of these young kids? Because I know this covering high school sports for many years, right? You get a win, okay, you're walking a little more upright, you're feeling pretty good about yourselves, and you're thinking, okay, we're going to handle this way, shut out everybody the rest of the way, and roll from here. What's the message going into week 3?
We just finished up films, and our kids are pretty good with that. We told them enjoy it this weekend, and then we come back Monday, and it's over. It's done with. It's a new week. We got to be ready to go, and our kids are smart. They know what lies ahead. They know the pack schedule is brutal. They're pretty good about just taking it one game at a time. Part of it is they're young and they don't really know any better, so they're just got tunnel vision, and in that case, the youth kind of works to our advantage.
And Coach, next week you guys will have Riverview. I believe that one's at home. So tell us about that matchup a little bit before we let you go.
We haven't really seen a whole lot of them. They're new to our schedule. I don't even know that one kid on our team even knows where they're at. So
that makes a couple of us, Coach.
They're down around the Coshocton area. I know
Okay.
I know that. So they were very good last year. They play in kind of a tough league. They played John Glenn and some of those schools down around Muskingum area. They like to run the football. They played a really good Ridgewood team last night and lost to Ridgewood, but I mean Ridgewood's a deep in the playoffs every year. So our kids, and like I said, that's one of the good things about our kids. They don't have a lot of experience in that sense, so they just line up against whoever's over there and be ready to go. So we'll look at film. They're pretty run heavy. They're similar. Really, they're similar to the first 2 teams we've played. So it shouldn't be too big of an adjustment for our guys.
Outstanding, Coach. Best of luck in that game the rest of the season, and thanks for making time for us here on the Saturday Morning Huddle.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Matt Gulling, head coach there at Tuslaw in his 5th year. Good win for them last night, Billy. I wrote it down. 40 of 55 players are freshmen and sophomores for them, and they're 1-1, so they're 500 after 2 weeks. Positive there. And he said something that I find to be very true with young kids. If you have grown up winning, all right, whether it's pee-wee football, elementary, right, junior high, whatever it is, that's what you're expecting, right? That's what you've been a part of. So you hope that it carries on to when you get to the JV games and then the varsity games. And he said those kids have won when they played when they were younger. And so it's what they know. So I really think from a mental standpoint, that really matters.
Yeah, I agree. Am I correct, Kenny? Wasn't Tuslaw, was that the one at the banquet dinner talked about recruiting non-football players and trying to get different, senior? I think he said he had a couple new seniors to football, which I thought was interesting. And, I remember back at Medina, one of our coaches had recruited one of the O-line to play basketball, and it just seems simple. All right, you got a big O-lineman, recruit him to be the backup center, fill that spot. And I always thought that was kind of an interesting approach to, hey, if you want to flip things around, if you want to get some quick changes to a program, why not recruit 4 track players to come play football? Why not recruit a couple basketball players that are bigger, to come play on your O-line or play tight end? And maybe that's working for Tuslaw.
Yeah, and soccer, we always know the kickers are going to come over from soccer too. So
right.
We're hearing a lot of coaches these days want kids to play multiple sports. They like the versatility that it brings, the discipline that it brings, the keeping them in shape right in their off season and everything. So, and when you're a smaller school, like we said, you got to get everybody and anybody you can to come out so you can practice, number one, right? And you never know who you might find a diamond in the rough, and get them that experience, something they enjoy and they want to be a part of it. So kudos to Tuslaw, now 1-1 after that 34-0 win over Chippewa last night.
Yeah, and a great way to start for them, and just more local teams excelling well, and past success isn't determining what they're doing this year. I think is a nice theme for teams in Stark County. Looking at some other games here, Kenny, I know you were at Massillon last night.
Yeah.
Massillon Glen Oak was the game in the matchup. The Eagles, we all kind of wanted to see what kind of fight they put up and what was truly going to be a difficult game.
Massillon's just a better football team. End of story right there. And Scott Garcia's got, things looking like they're headed in the right direction. But Massillon is the team to beat. And when you have normally 2 quarterbacks, you don't have one, we like to say. Well, Massillon has 2 quarterbacks that could play anywhere in Stark County and start in Jalen Slaughter and DeJuan Owens, who transferred from Copley. Owens got the start yesterday, was a captain and throws a touchdown pass there. They're both left-handed with the camouflage uniforms that they were wearing yesterday. And they both throw a similar ball. Owens tends to run more. Slaughter tends to throw the deep ball better. So they both, were studs yesterday. And how about this? Jalen Slaughter doesn't start, comes off the bench, 4 for 6, 153 yards, 2 touchdown passes, no interceptions. He runs at one time for 21 yards. He was our Old Carolina Barbecue player of the game. And you're getting a look at those, uniforms that they wore last night on military night at Paul Brown Tiger Stadium. But DeJuan Owens, not a bad night either, right? Slaughter throws for $153 and 2 touches. DeJuan Owens, 123 yards passing and 3 touchdowns. Jaquez Carter, 3 catches, 144 yards, 2 touchdowns. Kyler Wiggins, 2 catches, 60 yards, 2 touchdowns. Dorian Pringle did it on both sides of the ball for Massillon last night. On offense, 2 rushes, 15 yards, and a touchdown. On defense, 6 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 1 sack. This is a well-rounded team. It's a well-oiled machine. 56-7 the final as Massillon beats Glen Oak to go to 2-0, and they'll remain number 1 in Ken's top 10 for obvious reasons. Peyton Mitchell, 127 yards rushing yesterday for Massillon. So this is the best team in Stark County through the first 2 weeks. They are now, I think, 21-0 against Stark County teams over however many years. So until somebody can knock them off in Stark County, they're going to be the number 1 team in Ken's top 10 and the number 1 team in Stark County.
Yeah, and you look at the Massillon schedule year to year, it was almost cool that they were playing Glen Oak, another Stark County team, and obviously it ends up being a tough matchup for Glen Oak. But what are we gathering from the Eagles after 2 weeks, Kenny? I know it's kind of a tough measuring stick to go from a big win to a big loss.
Yeah, well, Cole Anderson's their quarterback. He was 4 of 16 for 52 yards yesterday. No touchdowns, no interceptions. He was under duress all night long. The biggest noticeable difference was in the lines, right? Offensive and defensive lines. That's where Massillon had a huge edge over Glen Oak. So they're going to have to get better in the trenches, play smarter football. Avante Burt, they held him in check yesterday, Massillon did. He only had 38 yards rushing and receiving, okay? So Adrian Burt, came in, played a little quarterback yesterday. He's on the defensive side of the ball, though. He ran for 54 yards. So the Burt boys obviously can make things happen. And Jamar Johnson had 81 yards rushing for Glen Oak, but they need to get better up front if they're going to be a better football team this year. And Cole Anderson, they need to give him time to throw the football.
Yeah, and I know some of these teams that have taken hard losses, that up front is kind of a common theme right now. I know Hoover had a tough time last night in their 31-8 loss on the line. We'll shoot to another team that got their first win of the season last night as we bring in Coach Dan DeGeorge of the Lake Blue Streaks. Coach, good morning. How are you?
Morning, guys. I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Win number 1 is in the books for you guys, and I know Kenny was at your game last week. He broke it down for us real well. Kind of seemed like maybe you should have had it. And how does that carry into this week?
Our week 1 game, and give all the credit to Alliance. They won the football game. They deserved the win. That was one of the tougher ones I've had in my coaching career, just because of the opportunities, the missed opportunities. We had 5 times in the red zone, not scoring any points, missing some tackles, missing some field goals. So when you lose a game that you almost feel like you gave away, it's harder than just getting your butts kicked by a team that is a lot better than you. And again, taking nothing away from Alliance, they're going to win a lot of football games. We did not play Blue Streak football week 1. Bounced back last night, played a little bit better. Defensively, we gave up too many points for sure. So it's a work in progress for us. We're just looking to find ways to get better every single day. And, battling a lot of injuries, no excuses there, but some new guys are playing and just getting them Friday night ready is an adjustment.
Coach, going back to last week, and then we'll talk about your, 42-31 win over Boardman last night on the road, by the way. Was it more of new players stepping up into different roles? Was it a wake-up call coming off a 12-2 season? Hey, we've arrived. What did you look back on and decide that, it was that kept you guys from beating Alliance in week 1?
Yeah, I just come down to the little things that really caught up to us. Some uncharacteristic penalties, not scoring in the red zone. It was a perfect storm of bad things, to be honest with you. Okay. And my approach has been, listen, we either going to learn from this and move forward and get better, or we're going to continue to, point fingers and stuff like that, which we don't do here. So, we got smacked in the face, and some of it was our own doing, but so is life, man. You got to respond to adversity. And so this is where myself and my coaches are going to challenge our kids even more. And again, hopefully new kids are playing more and they're getting a little bit better each week, because we are dealing with a lot of injuries, some guys out. We lost our starting center for the whole year, unfortunately. A very good player in Will Feeser. Our best defensive end is out in Dane Jarvis. Hopefully we might get him back later in the year. So those were 2 big blows to us on both sides of the ball up front. But next man up, and that's the approach we're going to continue to take.
Yeah, Coach, you just mentioned some injuries you guys have had. Other adjustments. I mean, Will Butler graduates, so your offense looks a lot different. You had some other key players graduate. Would you say player adjustments changing is tougher, or injuries? What's tougher to adjust to?
Injuries by far. You're always going to have new players each year. If you've been doing this long enough, you know that, good coaching staffs, and I got some great guys. We adapt to the players that we have. We had a lot of guys coming back on paper, but some of those injuries delay your progression a little bit, obviously. And we had a bunch of really, really good football players. Our week 1 game versus Alliance just not make the plays they normally make, right? And they know that. And some of them responded last night and made some of those big plays. So just getting better and not making the same mistake over and over, I think, is what you need to do as the season progresses.
Let's go to last night. 42-31, you beat Boardman. Nate Baker, are you now looking at him as your go-to guy at running back? I know it was running back by committee in week 1 against Alliance. After looking at the film, it seems like 22 carries, 182 yards, and a touchdown last night. Is he going to be your go-to guy now at running back?
Yeah, we made the move last week and switched Nate to tailback more full-time moving forward. Charlie Christopher has been playing defense, but unfortunately has not been able to carry the ball for us quite yet. We're hoping to get there eventually. Joey Garrow's another guy that can play tailback, but he's so good for us defensively. We're trying to save him a little bit on the defensive end. And Nate's a special player. He's a little raw at the tailback spot, but, man, he can run. He can make guys miss. So he's just going to get better each week there. And our offensive line stepped up and did a nice job last night as well. So we were finally able to score some points last night, score in the red zone, gave up too many points defensively. So we're going to work on that this week.
Hey, Billy, let me just jump in on Nate real quick on this because was he more north and south this week, Coach, instead of east and west from week one? Because I saw you getting in his ear a little bit there, a learning experience, right?
Yes, Nate was definitely more north and south. And again, he's got a lot of wiggle to him, very coachable kid, a very likable kid. But he did exactly what we asked of him last night. So I appreciate that.
Coach, I mentioned Will Butler graduating, and obviously that was a big storyline for you guys last year using 2 quarterbacks. How nice is it, though, with Will graduating, you get to go to Cale Jarvis, and he's played plenty both in the past and last year in the split.
Yeah, Kale's a great kid. Like I said, 3-year starter for us. Has played a lot of football games for us. You know, last night we actually played 2 quarterbacks as well. We played junior Noah Kabowski along with Kale. Kale rushed for almost 100 yards and 3 touchdowns for us. So he really ran the ball well. Noah threw a couple deep balls on spot, also ran for a touchdown. So we approach that just like we do all our other positions, to be honest with you, particularly after last year. We rotate guys at strong safety. We rotate guys at guards. If we need to rotate guys at quarterbacks to get a win, we're going to do that. So, and our kids understand that.
Coach, Noah, is that the kid you put in last week? I'm just trying to draw a visual for the
Yes.
Hail Mary at the end of the half. So is that something you think you're going to continue to do, or was that because of the score yesterday?
No, we played Noah in the second series, and
okay.
You know, we were looking to run Kale more yesterday, and we did. Like I said, 16 carries for almost 100 yards from Kale, which is great. He made some great runs. And we put Noah in as well to run some of our RPO stuff and throw the ball a little bit. We only threw the ball 6 times. It reminded me of a good old, Lake football game from 15, 20 years ago, which I'm okay with. But both our quarterbacks played well, and we're going to continue to play them both. Like I said, we're just trying to win football games.
Coach, when you have to start a culture that involves guys changing in and out, switching in and out, sitting for a while, then coming back in, does that rely more on coaching and your staff preaching that, or is that more the kids adapting?
I think it's a bit of both, right? You got to have a great coaching staff. Kids got to understand that, the team comes first. And, I challenged them a little bit after 2 days and during 2 days and leading up to Alliance. I just had this feeling that, some of the kids, and again, they're 16, 17, they were relying on what we did last year. And so now I can really use that it's not 2022, it's 2023. So moving on and understanding that we're just trying to win football games, and that's going to happen in a bunch of different ways, playing as many guys as we possibly can, and just keeping the team first concept is what works best for us.
All right. Who do you have this week, Coach? Where's it at? And what are going to be the keys to getting a second win?
Yeah, we're playing Brecksville, Broadview Heights this week, and new game on the schedule for us.
Yeah.
They're very good. They're 2-0. Their quarterback's a D1 quarterback. Just breaking down film here this morning on them, and they're much better than I anticipated. So we are going to have a tough time stopping them defensively. They've only given up 6 points in 2 games. So we're going to have to try to win the line of scrimmage and not turn the ball over to have a chance. It's going to be a good battle playing them at home this week, so we're excited about that.
Yeah, excited for you guys, Coach. Congratulations on win number 1 this season, and we'll have our eyes on the Blue Streaks. I know we'll be broadcasting different games throughout, so good luck to you.
Appreciate you guys. Thanks for what you do.
Thank you, Coach. Dan DeGeorge getting it turned around in a hurry. Love that guy, man. I'd love to play for a coach like that. Dan's intense. Chris Kappas reminds me of Dan DeGeorge, or vice versa. I don't know who's older, but they're just both 2 intense guys that you listen to them. You want to play for those guys. You'll run through a brick wall for those guys. And yeah, he's right. Alliance, they should have beat Alliance. I was there. I watched it. He's right. When you get in the red zone that many times and come away with 0 points, you fumble on the 2-yard line, you miss 2 field goals, and you only lose by 5, that's one where you go, no offense to Alliance. And yes, they made plays when they had to, but they should have won that game. So it was good to see them correct that, decide that Nate Baker's going to be their go-to running back. Bring the other kid in at quarterback, Noah Kabowski, and add him in with Cale Jarvis running the football more from the quarterback position. And that's where you see good coaching, right? You learn from your mistakes, you learn from a loss, and you try to correct it and make it better for the team. And that's what Dan DeGeorge did, obviously, in 1 week's time.
Yeah, jumping from 7 points to 42 is ridiculous. And, who knows? By the end of the season, they may be sitting at 100 points a game. I don't know, but
I was looking up I have a schedule on my wall here in my office, and we've got that game on radio. No, take that audio stream next week. We've got Brecksville at Lake. It is the WHBCsports.com streaming game of the week, and that means Bill Morgan, Derek Philo will be at Blue Streak Stadium as Brecksville, the Bees, and the Blue Streaks do battle 7 o'clock on Friday night.
And that's, again, pack your schedules with some good competition, Kenny, and you're going to kind of see where your team is at.
Absolutely. And Dan has last year when they go 12-2 and they lose to Massillon, deep in the playoffs, a heck of a year for Massillon, yes, but for Lake. Can they build off of that? And I think that's the challenge for Dan this year. Losing, like you said, Will Butler, key player, Solberger, key running back. They're trying to replace Butler more so on defense than on offense. Solberger, they're trying to find that running back. That maybe is where Baker or Christopher, when he's healthy, comes in. So you're trying to continue in the right direction and that culture, make it become a winning culture at Lake for the classes to come. And Dan has a good handle on that and has them headed in the right direction for sure.
Yeah, I agree. And definitely within the Federal League, you feel like Lake is up there trying to compete, trying to win it every year. And he seems like the type of coach to get his team to put week one behind them. And okay, let's get it going. But at the same time, Kenny, they're making a lot of adjustments. They're changing a lot of things up. Yep. And it's hard not to note. I mean, it takes a good coach to get a player to buy in on sitting or switching out or giving
rotating.
Yeah. I mean, I imagine, for some of those guys, carrying the ball is fun, but they're saying, hey, we need you to just hang back, work on defense. I need you ready on defense, or, I'm sure Cale Jarvis wants to be out there for the Hail Marys and the big throws and whatnot. But, he's a part of a culture where he's completely bought in that, hey, if coach thinks this is who needs to be in right now, then that's what we're going to do.
I'm going to make a prediction right now. It's only 2 weeks in. The Federal League was shared by McKinley and Lake last year. It will be shared again this year. Green is very good. They just beat, South Range snapped their 31-game regular season winning streak, right? Even though they're D5, that still. So Green's good. McKinley's better this year. Lake is talented when they're whole, when they're 100% healthy, right? Hoover, if their lines, get together on offense and defense, they have as good a skill guys as anybody so that's just Jackson. Look at Jackson. First 2 weeks, Mentor and Mayfield, they're 1-1. Eckerman's got 8 touchdown passes, 7 touchdown passes, whatever it is, in a couple of weeks. I really believe that we're going to have co-champions again this year in the Federal League, meaning every team will have at least one loss in the Federal League.
No, that's a solid prediction. And, Lake kind of bolted out ahead last year that you kind of felt like they were going to dominate and take it. Next thing you know, McKinley wins all the games that matter and knocks Lake off when it's time. And that was one of those games where it was a statement game for McKinley. They had finally been winning more. They'd been winning more consistently. Now they took down Lake, and next thing you know, the Federal League is a split.
Yeah, and Perry's better this year. Hey, Perry threw the ball 11 times last night. Austin Maddox threw the ball, I think it was 4 for 11, 69 yards. He threw a late touchdown pass of 41 yards to get them to back, They were down 16-14, and they couldn't get the onside kick, and they lose to a good St. Vincent St. Mary team. But, they're better, and we've had Coach Slates tell us we're going to throw it more this year. Well, I don't know if it was by necessity yesterday because they were behind or if that was part of the game plan, but they're going to need to throw it more if they want to challenge within the Federal League this year. So it's going to be a fun Fed League this year. I'm looking forward to all the games we do in the Fed this year.
Definitely. A lot of teams I think we're excited about, but we got to kind of figure out what they are, Kenny. I think Glen Oak's another one that's such an impressive week one and such a tough week two. I don't think we're really sure exactly who they are or what they're going to be, and that could be good and that could be bad for them. I think Perry, although they had a great game last night, I think it's the same situation. I could see Jackson getting better every single week. I don't know what Perry's going to be in week 8.
Let's run down the scores. We're waiting on Coach Dennison to try and join us here before we sign off today on the Saturday morning huddle. So Massillon, an easy win yesterday, 56-7 over Glen Oak. Jalen Slaughter, 2 touchdown passes. DeJuan Owens, 3 touchdown passes in that win. Jackson, a thrilling walk-off victory over Mayfield, 36. Throw that, if you can, throw that video up there, Billy, of that touchdown pass as Jackson walks it off, 36-35 over Mayfield. Sophomore quarterback Lucas Eckerman, 24 of 45, 295 yards, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions. There's the one that tied it. They kicked the extra point. Cooper Miser hits the extra point. They walk off 36-35, get their first win of the season. Congratulations to Jackson. Just heard from Dan DeGeorge. They go on the road. They beat Boardman 42-31. Nate Baker on the ground, 182 yards and a touchdown. Kel Jarvis, 3 touchdown rushes. So they right the ship there in Lake. Louisville, a shutout, 22-0 over Zanesville. Defense gives up only 74 yards yesterday and gets that goose egg on the board. Marlington, 2-0, 31-21 over Northwest. Bo Himmelheber joined us here on the Saturday morning huddle. Offense, defense, special, whatever you need, he does it for you. Coach Cardinal gets his second win as the head coach there at Marlington. Tuslaw, 34-0 over Chippewa, another shutout. They get their first win of the year. Alliance now 2-0 after a 45-28 victory over Niles. Kavon Davis, 7 catches, 97 yards, 2 touchdowns. Ravon Hawkins, 16 rushes, 67 yards, ran for a score and caught a touchdown pass. Zerbrug was lighting it up through the air, so they're 2-0 now. Canton South 2-0. We're waiting on Coach Dennison to join us. 50-40, Billy. You did the game last night. Help me out, man. 92 points in the first 2 games. They're 2-0. How much fun was that last night?
It was, and I think you operate the same way I do, where you've got the phone and you're trying to get video, and I just couldn't put it down. Every single play, I'm like, something's going to happen, something,
Yep.
and Pucci is as advertised this season. He's looked very good. You can kind of take a look. I mean, they're leaning on him so much, Kenny, and he's doing such a great job. But a couple of these touchdowns, you can see, he leans more on his receivers. His receivers make a great play, either getting open or catching on a give and go. He has quite the arsenal over there to deliver the ball and go from there. And then the other wild stuff, I mean, there was a safety that Canton South got. They picked up 2 squib kicks, which hopefully we'll get to talk to Coach Dennison about how valuable special teams was. But, Dover never out of it. They hung in there. They kept running the ball, and I think it's got to be something to note for Canton South that they give up points just as quickly as they get them. So
Right.
They can score on a 75-yard pass play, but they will also give up a 75-yard pass play.
Yeah, Pucci yesterday, 24 of 32, 303 yards. He's our player of the week for his performance this week, Pucci Snyder. He combines for, almost 400 yards of total offense and 6 touchdowns. And like we said at the beginning of the season, he has a chance to rewrite the record books in Stark County on passing yards and touchdown passes. And he's off to a great start when you have a guy like Tavon Castle catching 13 balls for 186 yards and 2 touchdowns. A lot of times that's player of the week worthy unless your quarterback was the one throwing you those passes. So 92 points in the first 2 games. Pucci doing it for them, and they need every point, Billy. Like you said, their defense is a work in progress. They give up points. Last week, they gave up a special teams touchdown. This week, their special teams aided them in scoring touchdowns, helping them on the offensive side of the ball. So, Matt Dennison has to be happy with what Pucci's done the first 2 weeks to carry the load early in the season. I'm sure he would like to see, a better job from his defense. But, hey, you're 2-0, and you develop as the season goes on. So congratulations to Canton South, to Pucci Snyder, our player of the week. Sandy Valley also 2-0. This kid could have been player of the week for the second straight week. Nick Petro, 305 total yards, Billy, and 3 touchdowns yesterday. I'm looking at his numbers, an 88-yard TD run, a 72-yard touchdown pass, and Lucas Gilland, who had the big interception to seal the win last week over Fairless, caught a touchdown pass there. Chad Davis, 74 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns. So Sandy Valley off to an impressive 2-0 start, and so is Melbourne. They're 2-0 now. Jared Withrow, 148 yards and 2 touchdowns. Their quarterback helping them start 2-0. We talked about McKinley briefly. They lose to Avon 28-7, and they had a game like Lake had in week 1, Billy. They hurt themselves yesterday a lot. 10 penalties. You get the ball 1st and 10 at Avon's 25, and you come away with 0 points. Nino Hall scored the only touchdown on a 2-yard run for them. Keaton Rohde, average game, 11 of 20, 101 yards passing. Dante McClellan, I guess, dropped a wide-open touchdown pass that would have tied it at 14 all, either in the late 3rd, early 4th quarter. So mistakes yesterday cost McKinley, and you can't make mistakes against one of the D2 powers in Avon. And so Avon wins that one 28-7. East Canton falls to 0-2. They lose 42-21. Smithville clobbers St. Thomas Aquinas. They're now 0-2. 18th straight loss for St. Thomas Aquinas. So Coach Henderson's got a lot to do to get them back on track, Billy.
Yeah, for sure. And there are a couple games you see, Kenny, where things just got out of hand. And for St. Thomas, you just want to see them get better every week, right? That'll benefit to win, is score more points, hold them down to less, and by week 8 or week 9, I don't know, maybe sooner if they really get it together. You see them snag their first win. How about some of these games, though? Canton South, 50 points. Alliance, 45 points. Tudslaw, 34. Lake, 42. I mean, the high scoring, it's really going right now in the area. I mean, Hudson, not from Stark County, but they had 45.
Well, we didn't even talk about that. Let's talk about that Hudson game then. You're right. 45 points they put up. They rushed for 444 yards and 6 touchdowns against Hoover. They outgained Hoover 546 to 126. So there's a wake-up call for Hoover. Had a nice week 1 win, but in the trenches, Hoover's got to get a lot better as they fall to 1-1. Minerva scores 21 points. They're leading 21-8 at halftime, and they lose their 21st straight game, unfortunately, as they fall to Crestwood 36-21. We were all getting excited checking the scores last night, and hearing that they were up, hoping that they would snap that losing streak. But unfortunately, it goes to 21 straight games. Fairless 0-2, surprisingly, Billy, as they lose to Tusky Valley 45-14. So Coach Sarbaugh's got some work to do over there with the Falcons. Central Catholic also 0-2. They lose to Norwayne 33-7. So there's a look at what happened in Stark County last night.
Yeah, Fairless, kind of surprising, right? You thought they'd come in and while they played a great game 1 and it was a fun game 1, still a long way to go for them this season, and still a couple teams lacking win number 1 on the season, Kenny, and that's kind of a thing that hangs over your head until you get it. However, we know these teams that still need win number 1 will probably get it and will probably kind of take it from there. I have a lot of faith in Fairless to kind of right the ship.
Yeah, again, you lose some key players, and some of your players you're counting on maybe not playing up to their capabilities. And so, hey, how do you handle adversity? Not a lot of adversity the last couple of years for Fairless. They've been a great story the last 2 years, 9 wins in each of the last 2 seasons. They win a league title, share a league title 2 years in a row. And so now you're 0-2. All right, we're going to find out the character of those kids on Fairless, how they handle the adversity and maybe bounce back from it and turn this season around. Long way to go. We're 2 weeks in. Yeah, 0-2. Hey, you got to win your next 2 just to get back to 500. But again, with the playoff system the way it is now, Billy, you just want to get better as the season goes along. So when the playoffs do roll around, that's when you're playing your best football.
Agreed. I think Glen Oak last year is a good example of that. I think McKinley's a good example of that last year. Perry was just back and forth, and then kind of took momentum into the playoffs. So like you said, it's going to take 2 to get back to 500, but it's such a long season. If you take it week by week, it's easy to see yourself winning those 2 games. So talking the rest of the season, talking what's coming up next, I want to mention real quick, we've got them.
There they are.
People have been looking for him, asking about him.
Hold it up higher. There you go. Cover your face up. We don't need to see you. There we go. That's what we want them to see. Flip it over. Flip it over on the other side, too. There it is, baby. I can't wait to get – I need this. I live by this, so I know who's playing where and what. It's our WHBC pocket schedules. They have arrived, and you can pick them up at the radio station, 550 Market Avenue South, and we'll be taking them now to all of our games. And I had 3 guys yesterday at Massillon knock on the press box door. Hey, did you bring any of those schedules with you? We heard they came in. So people are listening to the station, obviously. So you can get them now at the station, and Billy will take some to his game. I'll take some to my game this week. And I'm sure Derek and Bill Morgan will take some to their game. So you get your pocket schedules. We are ready to hand those out to you at the upcoming games, and get your own, 10 to 4 at the radio station. You can pick them up there at WHBC.
Yep, Market Ave, stop by. They're free. Grab as many as you want to a reasonable amount. But I know a lot of people have been asked about these, and I passed them out at the Canton South game last night.
Nice.
Where people were very pumped. So I believe we've got Coach Dennison. So let's try and get him in here.
Matt, is there a volume on this?
You sound great, Coach. You're outstanding right there. You're good to go.
Hey, they're trying to get him.
Yeah, I know. It's technology. I'm with you on that. Don't worry.
Coach, can you hear us all right?
Trying to get volume there, Kenny. I can't get the volume.
Okay. We hear you
Let
loud
me try
and
one
clear.
thing. I'm sorry.
That's all right. We hear you loud and clear on that. So you're coming through with us. You just need to hear us so we can ask you those questions and find out about your big win last night over Canton South, or over Dover, as Canton South won at 50-40. Billy, Coach, you got us yet? Can you hear us? No? Okay. Take him out till we – and while we're waiting on to get audio from him, I got to update you, Billy, on the food fight. The Press Box Food Fight Challenge, WHBC Press Box Food Fight Challenge. Shout out to the Massillon Boosters yesterday, because we were like, okay, every year, hey, they have great hot dogs at Massillon. We'll get that at halftime. Well, we got homemade, freshly made right out of the oven, ham and cheese sandwiches. Billy, I'm talking off the bone sliced ham that had to be drenched in either honey or ginger ale or something sweet. These sandwiches yesterday were fantastic. So thank you to the Massillon Boosters for the sandwiches, the ham sandwiches. Thank you to Dave Goff for the hot dogs. So right now, after 2 weeks and 3 games and 3 press box, filled with food, here's how it's Fairless, number 1. Massillon, number 2, and Lake is number 3. We got pepperoni rolls at Lake. We got the ham sandwiches and hot dogs at Massillon, and we had a feast from Fairless in week number 1. So right now, that's how the WHBC Press Box Food Fight Challenge is shaping up. Fairless 1, Massillon 2, and Lake 3, and we're at Louisville this coming Friday night with the Altman Hospital Radio Game of the Week. So we're hoping that Louisville will challenge all 3 of those schools in our food fight challenge.
Yeah, I recall Louisville doing a great job providing an array of things. So I think you guys will do great. Massillon, that's a mix-up for them, right? It's usually just the hot dog.
Well, the press box, everybody in the press box got hot dogs. Specifically for us, because we issued the challenge, one of the boosters at their home made the homemade sandwiches, gave them to Dan Belford, and provided them to us, specifically at WHBC, to enjoy before the game. And I did enjoy it, man. I wolfed that thing down, man. I love fresh ham off the bone. Are you kidding me? Oh, it's fantastic.
Love that. And I like that they have I know they don't give it to us, for free, but I like they have Chick-fil-A there. So I always, every time I'm at Massillon, I snag a Chick-fil-A sandwich.
Jackson has that as well too.
Love it. Let's try Coach again here, Kenny. See if we're better here. Coach, can you hear us?
Yep, you got me.
There he is.
Gotcha. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, Coach. Thanks for making time for us this morning. Congratulations on your second victory against no defeats to this point, 50-40 over Dover yesterday. Coach, what did you like most about your win yesterday?
Well, I think, 2 weeks in a row, we've programs that are known around the state as being great programs. And we've been in tight battles, have been able to, when tough, overcome tough when we had them and really persevere. And our kids showed a lot of resilience and grit.
Coach, when I talked to you post-game, I asked, how did you feel after that back and forth and fumble recoveries and interceptions and touchdowns? And you just say, I'm tired. I'm tired after that one. Well rested today, feeling a little better?
No, Friday night you get 4 hours sleep before you're breaking down film again. So I'll be rested by Monday.
Coach, you and I talked prior to the game, and you addressed special teams because the previous week you didn't play so well on special teams. Well, it looks like you turned the tables a little bit with the squib kicks and the recoveries. How important was that part of the game in getting a win over Dover yesterday?
That was huge because usually, we get a lot of teams that try to steal possessions from us. And we stole a couple possessions, which got us that early. We tried to, we couldn't stand prosperity though, so we had to give them a couple possessions back later in the half. But that was big. That's still work in progress. We still got to clean some things up on the kickoff team. We want them to kick it a little harder, work on the field position a little bit more. But that was a good change. The PAT's extra points were great last year. We won last night. That allowed us, him making really allowed us to keep in that nine more. So that was good.
All right, Coach, I know you got a couple of players with you. Who do we have with you today?
I got Poochie Snyder and I got Tavon first.
All right, let's try and pop those guys up, and we'll talk to them as much as we can, as our connection's not the greatest. But let's grab Poochie here and talk with Poochie first. Poochie, thanks for joining us. There's Tavon, too. What's up, fellas? Pooch, 24 of 32, over 300 yards, 4 touchdowns, 2 picks last night. You also ran for 92 and 2 touchdowns. What were you happy with in your game yesterday? What are you hoping to get better at after watching film this morning?
Yeah, other than the turnovers, we kind of did whatever we wanted offensively, moving the ball at will, obviously throwing it to him. And the running game was efficient enough to where we could do what we wanted through the air. But to get better going to next week, just eliminate the turnovers. 3 turnovers in a game for us, that's not like us. But we were able to overcome it last night, but just eliminate turnovers.
Poochie, we talked with Coach last week before your guys' game, and he noted one of the keys to winning would be you guys would have to drive the football, not just win on big plays. I think that first drive spoke to that, but do you feel like you guys had to do that all night, was drive the football?
Yeah, exactly. It kind of compares to last week where we had a couple 1-play touchdowns or 3-play drives, but tonight we were able to sustain the field and go full length. We had a couple 80-yard possessions, time off clock, and it's a credit to our line though and the type of play they showed last night.
All right, let's go to the king of the castle there. 13 catches, 186 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Tavon, what's it like having a quarterback connection like you have with Poochie, knowing on any given play it can go for a touchdown, or when a big play needs to be made, whether it's for a first down or whatever it is, that you guys are in sync, it seems like, every time?
It's honestly amazing having a QB like Poochie, the ball to me every time in the right spots. It's just amazing for real. All those out, I love how he treats me.
All right, guys, let's watch a little bit of film. I'll get a comment from both of you. We'll go Poochie first, then Tavon. I was right on the side on this one. This was a great throw and a great catch. Poochie, walk us through this play here.
Yeah, it was a fade. We wanted to take a shot in the red zone, take a shot early up front, give ourselves a net, but we got cover 3 most of the look, but they went to cover 2 look. He just got by him and then ended up scoring.
Tavon, for you on that play?
Yeah, like he said, I just kind of read the red corner. It didn't really seem like he was even trying to like a threat deep, so I just ran out and Poochie just put the ball where it's supposed to be at.
For you guys, a 2-0 start, 92 points through the first 2 games. For both of you guys, and Tavon, we'll start with you. Were you guys expecting or knowing that you would have to put up this many points to get victories?
Oh, yeah, of course. Our offense is always known for scoring, and we know that we're going to have to score every time, especially if our defense can't get stops. But we're working on it right now, and they're definitely helping us out a lot.
Poochie, what about you? How much added pressure does that put on your shoulders as the quarterback, knowing you almost have to score every time you have the ball right now?
Yeah, I'd still say it's extra pressure just because that would be the expectation. We know we scored at a high percentage, but when we get stops, when they do, we got to go 2 scores. But offense, that's what's expected.
Poochie, I talked with Derek Philo earlier in the week about your senior class and how far you guys have come kind of from middle school to now. How close is that group?
Yeah, we're very close. A lot of guys who played youth together, add-ons. They're in middle school. We've like to get to.
Guys, we appreciate you joining us on a
said,
Saturday
we had a couple
morning.
add-ons.
Oh, go ahead, Tavon. I'm sorry. We lost you there for a second. Go ahead.
Like Poochie said, we had a couple of add-ons, and those add-ons meant us a lot. Like AJ Pearson, he played back in middle school. He came back, helped a lot. Treyas came back. Just a lot of guys that have been helping our team improve.
Well, obviously things are exciting there at Canton South. 2-0 start, 92 points on offense. Best of luck this week and the rest of the season, guys. And we'll talk to you again down the road, all right?
Thank you.
Poochie Snyder, Tavon Castle, that 1-2 punch, outstanding, as good as there is in Stark County. Poochie, 300 yards passing, 4 touchdowns. Tavon, 13 catches, $186, and 2 touchdowns in that victory. And it's video game-like, isn't it, Billy? I mean, their offense right now?
It is. It really is. And you look at the highlights here, Kenny, it's ridiculous to see, you know, again, and you talk about a video game. Only in a video game can you choose, all right, I'm throwing to Tavon again. I'm going to Tavon again. I'm drawing up another play for Tavon. And he did it over and over again. Tavon gets open for him, and, you know, he's able to read a defense so well. You know, and one more time, the pressure you talked about with Poochie, because, again, you're up 21. Okay, now you're only up 7 all of a sudden. Okay, you're back up 21. Well, now you're up 6. And he definitely has to feel that pressure of scoring a lot, but they've entrusted him with a Ferrari offense, and he's a Ferrari driver for that offense. So Coach Dennison, very pleased there. Defensively, you still got a lot of work to do, certainly, but you know, they had a safety yesterday. They're scheming things up on special teams. So I think that speaks to Coach, you know, trying to figure some new stuff out.
No question about it, Billy. Let's take a look at our games that we're going to have for everybody on the different platforms next week with WHBC. Our Altman Hospital game of the week next week. It is Northwest at Louisville Friday night at Leopard Nation. We'll be there for a 7 o'clock kickoff. Make sure you join yours truly along with Rick Worstel for the Alt Care Stadium show live from Louisville at 5 o'clock, and then kickoff at 7. So that's the radio game. Our Alt Care YouTube TV game of the week has Euclid at Perry. So that'll be another good test for the Perry Panthers. How was it working with Coach McDaniels yesterday? Did you learn something?
I did. I definitely did. You know, he breaks down the game nicely, the X's, the O's, telling stories. You know, he's talking about Maurice Claret. He's talking about, you know, how he ran things at McKinley. So, right. You know, he'll be with us the next couple weeks. So if you, next week we'll be on demand, so we won't be live, but right when that game's over, you can head to YouTube and watch it. Again, Tom McDaniels is in the booth with Frank Salona, and I'll be down on the sideline for that one.
Bob Jeffries handling the stats for you guys on the YouTube TV game of the week, brought to you by AltCare. And then our WHBCSports.com streaming game of the week is Brecksville at Lake. We talked to Dan DeGeorge about that one. Bill Morgan, Derek Philo with the call of that one. And Brian Novak, of course, back at Studio Central with all the scores at halftime and with the post-game show. So we've got you covered. Year number 79. Hard to believe week 2 is already in the books, and we're moving on to week number 3, Billy.
Yes, very excited. One more plug here. We have our pocket schedules. They're here. We've got them. 55 Market Ave. You can stop by and get a pocket schedule. If you can, try and find me at the game. Try and find Kenny. We'll be bringing them with us next week. So you can check out those pocket schedules. Thank you real quick to all our guests. I know we had a full slate of guests today, and you could kind of see, Kenny, everybody was busy coming off film, moving to the next thing. So appreciate Jay Rohr coming on with us, Coach Kappas, Bo Himmelheber. We made that work. He was solo representing the Dukes. You got to love that. Matt Golian for Tuslaw, thank you for coming on. Dan DeGeorge, great to talk with him again for the first time since last season. And then Coach Dennison, Poochie, and Tavon Castle joining us to talk a little bit about that. So that's what you get on the Huddle. You tune in, you're getting 6, 7, 8 guests, and that's always great. So, again, if you're tuning in right now, you missed the show, we are available all the time. So you can go back on YouTube, go back on Facebook, and watch the show. So thank you to everybody who tuned in today and checked in with WHBC all week on our high school sports coverage.
Yeah, and look for Ken's top 10 at WHBC.com on Monday morning. I'll rank my top 10 teams in Stark County, and then throughout the week on the Kenny and JT show, we will have various coaches joining us to preview their upcoming game. And you see me, I'm looking down. We're doing things as this thing is live. We're updating stats and scores and checking things, each and every Saturday morning. So make sure you join us every Saturday morning as well to see how your team did the night before. And you never know who's going to pop up and join us here on the Huddle.
Definitely. And I'll just say, I feel good about how far, our show's come here, Kenny. And a year ago, the goal was, let's provide something that on Saturday morning, somebody can get all the answers to what happened on Friday night. And I think we provide that with stats, guests, highlights, and more. So we appreciate everybody kind of helping to make this show what it is.
And it's live, so sometimes we'll have good connections, sometimes we won't. A lot of times, they're in the basement of their school or whatever, and the connections aren't as good, so we deal with that, but it's a live show. That's what you get, but we want to spread as much love as we can throughout Stark County and get as many coaches and players on as we can.
All right, thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We'll see you next week in the Huddle.